Hello and welcome to the first video of the series Laces of Ireland for the summer of 2023. My guests today are Aine Hanrahan and Griffin from the Corrib Lacemakers, and they're going to tell you the story of their group, what are they working on, and what are their plans for Heritage Week, but not only. Can share your presentation, and we're going to start.
Okay. Thanks for that introduction, Gabe. We are the Corrib Lacemakers, are Losa Donna Corrib, and as you said, I'm joined here by one of our members, Grainne, Griffin. Our group was formed after a Heritage Week event in 2018, and what was supposed to be a 5-week class has turned into 5 years. We now have 16 in our group, and although there is no history of lace making in our group, we are motivated by our love of stitching and of crafts. So we are what you could call social lace makers, and we enjoy learning new skills and making new friends. And the ethos of our group is to help each other and pass on all the knowledge that we have, to pass it on between us and to the next generation. The group, after 2 years, I thought was beginning to lose motivation or interest. And in order to motivate the group, they were encouraged and challenged to put on an exhibition, which they did very successfully. And they put on the exhibition in 2020 to commemorate 200 years of the introduction of cardamom lace into Ireland. And working on this exhibition was actually a lifeline for the group, because we had just managed to set up all our pieces, and we managed to work on our exhibition pieces during lockdown. And our mode of communication to each other was via WhatsApp. So working on an exhibition during lockdown, I think was very, very good for all of us. Cardamom lace is a very delicate and light lace. And it is what you call an applique lace. And it was introduced into Ireland in the 1820s in Monaghan. And the characteristics of cardamom lace are, you have a base, which is your design, and then you have netting, and on top of that you put your cotton organdy, and you stitch around your design, and after you have all your design stitch, you cut out the surplus, and we add in further decoration or decorative stitches to the net, and they are pops, filling stitches, and picots. And this beautiful butterfly here was stitched by Grainne Griffin. This is a more traditional piece of cardamom lace, a wedding veil made by one of our members, Anne Cox. This is a more, again, a traditional piece of cardamom lace, a collar. The design is not ours, but it was stitched by Nola McHugh. We decided after our first exhibition, which was very traditional, that last year we would move on to a more contemporary pieces of cardamom lace, and we used it as an art forum. So I will let Grainne talk about this piece.
Hi, Gabriella. Yes, this is my piece of cardamom lace, and it was inspired by an old photograph which was taken in the early part of the 20th century near the Spanish Arch at a place called Spanish Parade, and that's where the local Claddagh women, which lived across the river, sold their daily catch of fish, and that's what this depicts. And actually, when this was on exhibition last year in the Fisheries Tower, a great granddaughter of the lady with the fish on her head and the basket came in and told me that her name was Nanny O'Donnell and that she married a man called Coleman Connolly, and they went to Boston, but unfortunately, or maybe fortunately for her, he was arrested for making poaching illegally, and she ended up coming home with her young son. So it was very interesting to have a bit of history and link with the Claddagh.
Thank you, Grainne. Again, this piece here is based on the Claddagh. It's a seagull, and in the background you have what they call the Long Walk, the houses on the Long Walk, and this was made by Barbara Niconocha, and Barbara is from the Aran Islands, and she remembers as a child coming from the Aran Islands to the Claddagh, and they used to visit somebody here in these houses. Again, a more contemporary piece of Corrib Lace Seaweed by Noreen Clancy. These are just images from bits and pieces that we have made in our group. Then we moved on from, after having our second exhibition in Limerick Lace, or in Corrib Lace, we moved on to Limerick Lace. And Limerick Lace dates back to the 1820s and 30s. So Limerick Lace is created on a cotton tulle or net. And there are two types of Limerick Lace, tambour and needle run. And in our group here, we have really just worked on, at the moment, have just worked on the needle run. And the characteristics of needle run Limerick Lace is you have your base, which is net or tulle. And the other characteristics are the light darn, heavy darn, eyelets, and the seed stitch. Here we have a contemporary piece of Limerick Lace showing all of the filling stitches. He is a well-decorated owl. This piece was made by Geraldine Farrell in our group. We then moved on to this year to work on Mount Malik Embroidery. And we had the tutor, Angelina, who was an excellent teacher. And the Mount Malik Embroidery is actually white work technique. And the characteristics of Mount Malik is that you're working with a very heavy cotton sateen and matte cotton threads. And it is the contrast between the thread and the fabric that gives you the characteristic of very heavy white work padded stitches. And Cartman traditionally would have been finished off with a knitted fringe around the edge. And to create the effect, you use stitches that create a highly textured surface. And our group activities, we meet weekly, and we meet every Wednesday from 10 to 12 a.m., 10 to 12 p.m. a.m.
10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Yes.
10 to 12 p.m. Sorry. Yes, indeed. And at this meeting, we welcome visitors, once-off visitors. So if anybody is visiting Galway, they are more than welcome to come and join us for the 2 hours. We are in the Connemara Coast Hotel in Forraba, and you will get all our details on our Facebook page or our Instagram page. Other activity that we put on from time to time are classes and workshops, and they're always based on the needs of the group. Sometimes we might go for 6 months and we mightn't have a class, and then for the second month we might have a number of classes. It all depends on the needs of the group at the time. And one of the major activity for us, and it's very important, is our 2 outings a year. We either go to visit museums or we will go away for a stitching weekend. And that weekend will involve stitching, workshops, walking and relaxing, depending on what you want to do. And the other activity is that we try, or we aim to put on an exhibition every 2 years. And we have done that successfully over the last few years. Our upcoming events for the next year is going to be our event for Heritage Week from the 12th to the 20th of August. And the exhibition is called Orlunga Gloon. That will take place in St. Nicholas Church in Galway City. And this exhibition will showcase or exhibit all the pieces that are worked on by our group that will be passed on from generation to generation, that will become heirlooms. And they're mostly wedding veils, communion veils, christening gowns, and other pieces. And this year in September, we are meeting up with the group Traditional Lacemakers of Ireland in Cork, and we're looking forward to that. In 2024, next year, we are going to be exhibiting in our Aine Arts Centre on Inisheer, Aran Islands for the whole month of June. And we are currently getting our inspirations together for that piece. We visited the Aran Islands about a month ago and visited the gallery. And we are, as I said, we will be setting up our pieces, and we will work on those pieces over the winter when we are meeting up on a weekly basis. So that just gives you a very quick overview of our group. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your talk. I have, I've brought you back in focus. Very interesting presentation, and it's delightful to hear about the many activities you are organizing. And thank you very much for breaking the ice. You were the first group to come online to do this video. Hopefully it will be followed by many others. Now, thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.